I should have known I was screwed the second I saw Linda at our gate before we even boarded the plane. My name's Tyler. I'm 32. I live in Flagstaff, Arizona. I met Rachel 4.5 years ago at a friend's barbecue. She was the kind of woman that made you think maybe, just maybe, you finally pulled the golden ticket. Funny, sharp, gorgeous, with this easy way of making everyone feel like her best friend. We clicked fast, dated a year, moved in. 3 years later, I proposed. We got married 2 weeks ago. Now we're in Maui for the honeymoon. Should have been paradise. Instead, it turned into a hostage situation. Quick note, before we get deeper into this mess, share which city or country you're watching from. Rachel's mom, Linda, she wasn't just a lot. She was relentless. At first I tried to take it in stride. I mean, who doesn't want a close relationship with their mom? She'd call Rachel every night before bed, even when we were just a few months in. I thought it was sweet, naive. Yeah, I get that now. Then came the surprise visits. Linda had a key to Rachel's apartment, let herself in like it was her place. She'd rearrange the furniture, label the condiments, fold laundry that didn't need folding. I said something once. Rachel just laughed and said, she just likes helping, and I let it go. That was mistake number one. When I proposed, Linda cried harder than Rachel did. From that point on, she wasn't just in the picture. She was directing the whole photo shoot. Wedding planning turned into Linda's full-time hobby. I mean, she had spreadsheets, color swatches, a damn clipboard. Every choice that was ours slowly turned into hers. The venue, Linda picked it. The food, Linda suggested what Rachel liked. Rachel nodded along like it didn't matter either way. And me, I told myself it was just a phase, that Rachel would speak up when it counted. But looking back, she never did. The night before the wedding, Linda knocked on our hotel door with steamers, makeup bags, and a folder of notes for the ceremony. She didn't knock like a guest. She walked in like she owned the place. I sat there on the bed, watching her direct my fiancé like she was auditioning for a commercial. Rachel didn't flinch. She didn't look annoyed. She just followed. That's when the knot in my stomach started. Not nerves, not cold feet, just this sick feeling like I wasn't marrying a woman. I was marrying into a two-woman act with no room for a third. And like an idiot, I told myself it had all calmed down after the wedding. I was so wrong. The next morning, I woke up telling myself to shake it off. Big day. Deep breath. Don't let the wedding stress mess with your head. But the second we walked into the venue, I knew I wasn't the groom. I was just another one of Linda's background decorations. She was already there, front and center, holding court like some empress. Same clipboard, same fake smile, and the dress, Jesus, floor length, silver white. Not off-white, not beige, white. Full lace sleeves, sweetheart neckline, even a little train. She looked like she was about to walk the aisle herself. I said nothing. What was I going to do? Throw a fit over a dress? I told myself, let it go. Just get through the ceremony. Should have trusted my gut. We hadn't even made it to the altar before she took over. My dad stood up, ready to give a quick speech before the vows. Something he'd practiced all week. He barely opened his mouth before Linda cut in, grabbed the mic. No warning. I just want to say a few words before this beautiful day begins, she said, already choking up. Rachel has been the light of my life, my best friend, my reason, and now I'm so grateful she's found someone who can be part of our little team. Our team. I stood there like an idiot, smiling for the cameras while she gave the kind of speech usually saved for a eulogy. Rachel didn't even look at me. She was watching her mom like she was watching a movie she'd already seen 10 times. After the vows, quick, dry, barely personal, we sat at the reception table. Or at least they did. I got pushed one chair down. Linda sat next to Rachel at the main table. My mom shuffled to the side like she was someone's distant cousin. I saw her glance at me, confused, a little hurt. I just shrugged. What could I say? The waiter came around with plates. When mine hit the table, I blinked. No ribeye, no mashed potatoes, no bourbon glaze like I picked at the tasting. Just grilled eggplant and quinoa. I flagged the guy down. Hey, sorry, this isn't the entree we picked. He leaned in, almost whispering. Your mother-in-law made some last-minute changes to accommodate more dietary restrictions. I looked at Rachel. Nothing, no shock, no apology. Just digging into her plate like it was totally normal. We cut the cake, took photos, did all the traditional crap. Everyone smiled, everyone clapped. But I wasn't in it anymore. I felt like some stand-in groom at a theme wedding for two. Then came the first dance. We stepped onto the floor. The lights dimmed. Music started. Elvis, just like we agreed. I pulled Rachel close. Tried to find a sliver of real in all of it. Just 1 second where it felt like her and me again. 30 seconds in, I saw movement from the corner of my eye. Linda. She stepped right onto the dance floor. No announcement, no hesitation. Just glided in like she belonged. She slid between us, hand on Rachel's shoulder, the other waving to the crowd like she'd won an award. Rachel didn't even look surprised. I stepped back. I swear to God, I stepped back like I was the intruder, like I was interrupting their moment. People laughed. Someone clapped. I walked off the floor and headed to the bar. Bartender gave me a look. "You good, man?" I downed the whiskey and didn't answer. Half an hour later, Rachel found me outside. I thought maybe she'd say something, a joke, an apology, anything. Instead, she just said, "Don't be weird. My mom's just excited." "Excited?" I snapped. "She hijacked the entire day." "She wore white, Rachel." She shrugged. "It's not a big deal." I looked at her, at the woman I thought I knew. "Is this how it's gonna be?" She didn't answer, just walked back inside. And me, I just stood there, watching the woman I married fade into her mother's shadow. I told myself again, after this, things will calm down. That was mistake number 2. We landed in Maui late afternoon. I was still shaking off the wedding mess. Told myself this was the reset. New chapter. Just us now. 3 hours in, Rachel was already curled up on the bed, scrolling through her phone, acting like everything was fine. I was still half unpacking, halfway through a beer, when her screen lit up. "Linda, did you land safe? What's your room number?" Rachel laughed. "She worries too much." "Yeah," I said. "Or maybe she just doesn't know where the line is." She didn't respond, just kept texting back like it was no big deal. I went out on the balcony, tried to enjoy the view. The ocean looked fake, so perfect it made you feel like you were in a screensaver. But I couldn't shake the feeling in my gut. I thought maybe I was just still bitter from the wedding. Later that night, we ordered room service, watched half a movie, started settling in. I was brushing my teeth when I heard a knock at the door. "Room service," I mumbled through the foam. Rachel opened it without looking through the peephole, and there she was. Linda, full suitcase in hand, hair curled, dress steamed, smile like she'd just arrived at a weekend spa getaway. "Surprise!" she said, like it was the most normal thing in the world. "I couldn't let you two be here alone. What if something happened?" I stood there, frozen, toothbrush still in my mouth. Rachel didn't yell, didn't ask what the hell she was doing there. She just walked over, grabbed the bag from her mom's hand, and pulled it into the room like they'd planned it. "Mom, you're insane," she said with a smile. "But fine, come in, come in." Linda turned to me like I was the help. "Be a sweetheart and ask the front desk for more towels, will you?" I looked at Rachel. Nothing. No apology, no eye roll, not even a shrug. She was already pulling out extra hangers from the closet. I spit out the toothpaste and said, "Are you serious right now?" Rachel didn't answer. Linda started unpacking like she had a damn timeshare. I stepped out onto the balcony again, trying not to lose it. My hands were shaking. I wasn't just pissed, I was stunned. Who the hell crashes a honeymoon? 10 minutes later, Linda was in her robe, pouring herself a glass of wine from the minibar. Rachel sat on the edge of the bed like it was girls' night. I stayed standing. Linda smiled at me over her glass. "You'll get used to me," she said. "Rachel and I, we come as a pair." "Is that what this is?" I asked. "A package deal?" Rachel looked up. "Can you please not start?" "Start?" I said. "You think I'm starting something?" "She's here now," she said. "Let's just make it work." I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. "Unbelievable," I muttered. Linda clucked her tongue. "Tyler, sweetie, this is supposed to be a celebration." "This was our honeymoon," I said. "Not a slumber party." Neither of them flinched. I turned and walked straight into the bathroom, closed the door, locked it. I sat on the edge of the tub, staring at the tile. I wasn't mad anymore. I was numb. Because in that moment, I knew. I wasn't a husband. I was a third wheel. And the real couple was already sharing the bed. The next morning, I woke up on the couch. Linda was still asleep in the bed, my bed, spread out like she owned it. Rachel was sitting on the balcony with coffee, scrolling through her phone like it was just another Thursday. I walked out and shut the sliding door behind me. "We need to talk," I said. She looked up, eyebrows barely raised. "What's wrong now?" I kept my voice low. "Is this a joke to you?" "What are you talking about?" "Rachel," I said, pointing toward the room. "Your mother crashed our honeymoon. She didn't even ask. She just showed up with luggage like this is a girl's trip. She shrugged. She means well. Don't make a scene. That hit me like a punch to the chest. A scene. Her mom shows up uninvited, hijacks our trip, and I'm the one being dramatic? I took a breath, trying not to explode. You're telling me I should just smile through this? Pretend like this is fine? She's worried about us, Rachel said, like that explained anything. She just wants to make sure we're okay. No, I said, stepping in closer. She wants to make sure you're okay. She doesn't give a damn about me. Rachel looked down at her coffee. Can you stop being so intense about this? Intense? I said, half laughing. Rachel, I married you, not the both of you. If you can't see how insane this is, then what the hell are we doing here? She's part of my life, Rachel said. You knew that. Yeah, I snapped, but I didn't know she was going to be part of our bedroom too. Rachel sighed and stood up, brushing past me. I grabbed her wrist, not hard, just enough to stop her. If you're not going to say something, I said, steady and clear, then I'm out. She pulled her arm back, blinking like she couldn't believe I said it. You're really going to walk out over this? Yeah, I said, because this isn't a marriage. It's you and your mom, and I'm just in the background, carrying luggage and paying the bill. Rachel opened her mouth like she was going to argue, but nothing came out. She just stood there, didn't protest, didn't follow, didn't even say goodbye. I went back inside, grabbed my suitcase and zipped it up loud enough to make a point. Linda was still snoring. I didn't care. I walked out of that room with my head high and my stomach in knots. 72 hours in, that's all it took for everything to fall apart. I dragged my suitcase straight down to the lobby. I didn't look back, didn't even slow down when I passed the front desk. I just wanted a new room, a new bed, a new start to breathe without hearing Linda's voice echoing in my head. Hey, I said to the clerk, I need to book another room for tonight. Different floor. The kid looked up from his computer, polite smile fading fast. Sir, what's your last name? Whitaker, Tyler Whitaker. He typed for a few seconds, frowning at the screen. Sir, your wife called earlier. She said you wouldn't be needing the room anymore. I stared at him. Come again? She said you were heading home early, so she checked you out of the reservation. Home early? I repeated, my voice getting sharp. Does it look like I'm heading home early? The clerk swallowed. I'm sorry, sir. She verified the account information and confirmed the change. Yeah, I bet she did, I muttered. All right, fine. Just book me another room. I'll pay with a different card. He started typing again, then stopped. We're fully booked. I can put you on a waiting list, but nothing's available tonight. I pulled out my wallet. I'll pay double. Just give me something. He shook his head. I'm sorry. I stepped aside, pulled out my phone, and opened my banking app. Error. Tried the credit card. Declined. I checked again. Frozen. Every account tied to the wedding fund, hers and mine, locked down. Then I remembered. Rachel had access to everything. Every login, every card. I thought it made sense. New marriage, shared finances. Stupid move. I opened my airline app, trying to book a flight home. Logged out. Password reset. Couldn't even verify my own identity. I leaned against the counter, heart pounding hard enough to make my hands shake. The kid at the desk gave me a nervous look. Sir, are you okay? Yeah, I said. I'm great, but I wasn't. Because that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about her ignoring me. This was a setup, a trap with a smile. Linda knew exactly what she was doing. Give Rachel control of the money, make me the secondary name on every account, then pull the strings when I try to walk away. A nice, quiet little cage built out of signatures and passwords. I looked around the lobby, families laughing, couples checking in, people snapping photos by the palm trees. Everyone looked free, everyone but me. I walked out to the parking lot, phone still in my hand, jaw tight enough to hurt. They didn't just want me to stay. They wanted me to beg. I stood outside the hotel, sun burning into the back of my neck, phone in hand, watching the Uber icon crawl across the map. I didn't care where I went, just away. As far as I could get from that hotel, from that room, from that woman and her mother. Driver pulled up in a black Toyota. I tossed my bag in the back and got in without a word. You headed to the airport? He asked. Yeah, I said. Any terminal. Doesn't matter. We rode in silence. I stared out the window, jaw clenched so tight my teeth ached. I didn't even know what flight I'd get on. I'd figure that part out when I got there. I just knew I had to move before I got trapped again. He dropped me off at the side entrance near the old commuter gate. It was quiet, barely anyone around. That's why I picked it. I figured if I slipped in unnoticed, I could get past security and find a way out before either of them realized I was gone. But as soon as I stepped around the corner toward the main doors, I froze. They were there, Rachel and Linda, standing side by side like they'd rehearsed it. Rachel looked exhausted. Messy bun, dark circles, still in flip-flops. Linda? She looked like she was posing for a press release. Glossed lips, oversized sunglasses, fake-ass sympathy smile locked in. Rachel saw me first. "You're really doing this?" I didn't answer. She stepped closer. "You're walking away from us?" I laughed. Short, bitter, sharp. "Us? There was never an us. It's always been you and your mom." Linda jumped in like clockwork. "You're being immature. You need to calm down." "I am calm," I said, stepping past them toward the doors. "I've never seen things clearer." That's when Rachel pulled something from her tote bag and held it out. A folder, plain white, no label. "Mom said you'd find this useful." I took it without thinking. Opened it right there. It was a prenup, one I'd never seen, definitely never signed, but it had my name on it, my signature, forged, page after page of legal clauses, typed and highlighted like a trap. I flipped to the flagged section. Marriage must last a minimum of 1 year to access any joint assets. In the event of early separation, spouse receives no financial reimbursement. All wedding expenses become the responsibility of the departing party. "You tricked me," I said, holding it up like it was some kind of sick joke. "You planned this." Rachel said nothing. Linda didn't blink. "We just needed to make sure you were serious." "I was serious," I snapped. "I showed up. I said the vows. I meant them." Linda crossed her arms. "Then what's the problem?" "The problem," I said, stepping toward her now, "is that you never wanted a son-in-law. You wanted another pet." Rachel looked down, still silent, not even pretending to defend me. I turned back to her. "You're okay with this?" "I didn't think you'd actually leave," she said, voice low. "That's the difference between me and you," I said. "You're still waiting for permission. I'm already gone." I handed the folder back and walked straight toward the gate line. I didn't look back once. I walked straight to the nearest ticket counter, pulled out the only card Rachel didn't have access to, my old emergency one from college, and asked what was leaving right now. The woman tapped a few keys and said there was 1 seat left on a flight to Denver, boarding in 45 minutes. I booked it, didn't care about the city, didn't care about the weather. I just needed distance, altitude, a clean break. The gate was at the far end of the terminal. I moved fast, weaving through tourists and screaming kids. I felt like I'd been running for days, and I was finally about to break through the finish line. Then I heard it, that voice. "Where do you think you're going?" I stopped cold, turned. There they were, Linda and Rachel again, like they'd been tailing me the whole time. Like this was some sick game of cat and mouse, and I wasn't allowed to leave until they said I could. Linda looked cool as ever, arms crossed, fake concern on her face. Rachel looked different this time. Her eyes were puffy, hands shaking a little, like maybe reality had finally started to punch through. "You're making this worse for everyone," Linda said. "This could have been easy." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "Easy? What part of crashing a honeymoon and freezing my accounts is easy to you?" "You're overreacting," she said. I stepped forward. "You planned it. You both did. You don't accidentally corner someone at a hotel, block their money, and hand them a fake prenup." Rachel winced. "I didn't fake anything. You handed it to me," I said. "You knew exactly what it was." "I love you," she said softly. "No," I said, cutting her off. "You love that I didn't leave sooner. You love that I kept swallowing it, that I kept playing along. She's my mother," she snapped suddenly, voice louder now. "What was I supposed to do? Cut her off?" "No," I said, calmer than I felt. "You weren't supposed to cut her off. You were supposed to protect us, but you never chose me. Not once." "I didn't think I'd have to choose," she whispered. "That's the problem," I said. "You should have figured that out before you got married." Linda scoffed behind her. "You're going to regret this. You're throwing away a family over a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" I said, stepping closer. "Lady, you wore white to my wedding. You hijacked the venue, the food, the dance. You showed up to my honeymoon with a damn suitcase and a smile, and then you locked me out of my own accounts." Linda didn't flinch. "Because we had to be sure you were serious." "I was," I said, voice cracking a little from how much it burned. "But you weren't, and neither was she." Rachel's lip trembled. "I thought we could fix it." "We?" I said. "There's no we here. It's you and your mom. It's always been you and your mom." Gate agent stepped up to the podium. "Final boarding call for flight 1820 to Denver." That was my cue. I turned, started walking. Then I heard it. Soft, right behind me. "Please, Rachel's voice, barely above a whisper. I stopped. Just for a second. I wanted to believe her, wanted to turn around, wanted to imagine there was a version of this where she finally stood up to Linda and said, "Enough." But then I saw it, over her shoulder, Linda's face, that little smirk, that smug, satisfied smirk like she'd already won. And just like that, the pull inside me vanished. I stepped forward, handed the agent my boarding pass, and walked through the gate without looking back. I landed in Denver, booked a motel for the night, and slept 12 straight hours without hearing Linda's voice or feeling Rachel's silence pressing against my chest. 2 days later, I was back home in Flagstaff. First thing I did, changed every password I had. Bank accounts, airline logins, even my Netflix. Then I called my lawyer, told him everything, sent over the fake prenup, screenshots of transactions, texts, the works. He didn't say much, just gave a long exhale and said, "You did the right thing getting out." I never heard from Rachel again, not directly. Mutual friends sent me messages like they were passing along updates from a ghost. "She's confused. She didn't expect you to actually leave. Her mom's trying to smooth things over." I didn't reply. Linda called once, left a voicemail like nothing had happened. "We should talk this through, honey. There's no need to overreact." I deleted it without listening to the rest. My lawyer confirmed what I already suspected. The prenup didn't hold. No signature, no witness, no legal ground. But it wasn't about the document. It was what it represented. That was never about love. It was about power, control, strategy. Rachel was never free from her mom's grip. She might have worn the dress, said the vows, smiled for the pictures, but none of it was real. She was still on the leash, and I was just the latest fool they tried to pull into their little fantasy. I didn't walk away with some big win. There was no revenge, no dramatic redemption. I didn't come out richer, not happier, not healed, but I walked out with something most people never find the strength to hold on to, my dignity. And sometimes, that's the only thing you get. Sometimes, it's the only thing that matters. I don't regret walking away, not one bit. I regret ignoring the signs, letting the phone calls slide, shrugging off the dress, the dance, the silence. I regret believing the version of Rachel I fell in love with was still in there, somewhere underneath the years of her mother's voice in her head. But when I look back now, I'm proud of one thing. I saw the trap, and I got out.